Uh-oh, it's too late. If it's not ready,
That's not true.
you're right.
So like, do you chop this up? You edit it and stuff?
Yeah, we might, but mostly we just kind of record the podcast and we edit it and kind of clean it up a little bit.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
okay.
there's like a
Because I was asking mostly because I'm in a garage and I noticed my landlord, who's also my friend, is not here, which means he'll eventually open the garage. It'll be loud. I'll say hi, and then you'll probably want to cut. That's all.
yeah, we can do
Oh,
that.
great.
We're experts at that.
I love that.
But we might just leave it if it's funny.
Okay, okay, cool. I'll let you do everything from here then.
I'll be like, Chad lives in a garage.
Yeah. Wait, that's great. That works.
Okay. Oh man, now I'm nervous. You're making me nervous. Okay.
I will. Oh, okay. No, no, you're not nervous. I'm nervous. Does it help if I'm nervous? I'm very nervous.
Okay. Helps a lot.
Good.
Welcome to the Pillow Talk podcast with Pillow Cube. My name is Will Beck. I'm your host, and today I've got Chad Jamian on the podcast with me. And if you're not looking at the video, you're missing out because Chad's being crazy and a goofball, and
Very funny.
that's why I love him. So, Chad, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Will. Thanks for having me. I am so nervous that I'm out of body right now.
Chad, how much did you sleep last night?
0.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of things happened yesterday that made my brain not shut off. There were 3 things actually.
Tell me about them.
The first thing is I have a 2-year-old who doesn't sleep.
Okay.
The second thing is I knew that today I'd be on your podcast.
Okay.
And the third thing is salami injury.
What happened with the salami? Was it
I'll go to the end of this. I'll go to the end of the story. I won't. I was gonna just show you the finger until I realized it. I shouldn't. I'll just show you the whole hand.
Yeah, middle
might.
finger. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's the yeah.
Uh-huh.
But my son got scared of the injury, so we made it into a character.
Yeah, there's a smiley face drawn onto what appears to be some kind of bandage.
That's you.
Yeah.
You should narrate all injuries.
I got a second career waiting for me.
You
Or a
do.
third one, maybe.
Yeah, so those 3 things really came together for the perfect storm of nerves. But the second I saw your face staring at me on this podcast, I was like, "Wow, okay, today's gonna be a-okay."
Yeah, yeah. You got high energy with 0 sleep. How'd you do that?
I just a lot of coffee, a lot of coffee. Will.
Yeah. Well, good luck going to sleep tonight too. So what? How much do you normally sleep?
Normally sleep. I get an okay night's sleep, but he'll wake up. He being my kid will wake up like 3 or 4 times, so it could be anywhere between 4 and 8 hours. It's really not bad.
Uh-huh.
He just doesn't love to sleep.
And then is it always your job, or does your wife share in the waking up with the baby? How does that discussion go at night?
Well, it's a weird thing because it used to be her job, but then we realized like she really needs her sleep. I don't need sleep because I'm naturally sort of like I have the energy. I can do without it. So now I get up, I go in there, I explain, no, that wasn't a real pterodactyl. That was your dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll say something like,
Perfect. So speaking of dreams, do you dream a lot?
I dream a ton. A ton. It's actually freaky.
So do you have anything exciting or fun to talk about dream wise?
Well, yeah, actually, I have a recurring dream. I don't know if you can relate to this at all, but I'm always like back in school. And
Dude,
like,
the back in school dreams are my
do you have
nightmares.
those?
Yes. I
Nuts.
usually they end up with me like not doing my homework for an entire semester, or like missing a test and that kind of thing.
That's crazy. Okay, Will, this is nuts because I have the same dream. My dreams are that, but also the more common one is like, oh, I'll wake up and I've been enrolled in some class that I never that
Yeah.
ever happened. Like I never
Like,
went
why
to
am
it.
I in this random psychology class,
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
not in it. Like I should be in it. And then the end of the year comes and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I've been enrolled and haven't been in there. I'm gonna get a bad grade.
Yes, I literally have that dream where I'm like, Oh man, I just failed college because I didn't show up to a class one time the entire semester. What an
What is
idiot.
that about?
I don't know, dude. I've got problems. I was actually really pumped because I had a pretty weird dream the other day, and I was like, oh, I want to tell Chad about this dream.
Oh, I'm glad that was your first thought.
Yeah.
It usually is.
Yeah. So I flew into my hometown, Denver,
Hmm.
and I'm at the airport, but the airport, it doesn't look like a normal airport. Like they have all these like gates, but then they're just outside. And outside is a carnival, like
Oh,
Ferris wheels. One of the biggest attractions that I remember is a giant slip and slide was there.
oh,
Yeah. And
okay.
so I'm walking up and down these gates and enjoying the carnival. And then I was trying to get an Uber to take me home, and I couldn't get an Uber. They're like they just wouldn't take me.
Oh,
And then I got an Uber, and then it took me to the other part of town. It's like, oh no, we don't go to where you live. Then it brought me back to the airport, and I'm just walking around the airport, which is a carnival.
yeah.
Couldn't get out of there, stuck, I was trapped. And then the worst part of the dream happened, kind of became a nightmare for me. Some pretty girl comes out of an airplane,
As
and
they
then
do.
she starts waving at me, and I'm like, oh, why is she waving at me? And then I'm like, okay, I'm waving back. So I start waving back, and I turn around and I see somebody behind me that she's waving at.
Oh,
And for me, that's just the like most embarrassing moment of my life. And I just walk away. And that's all I can
oh,
remember from my
wow.
dream. Yeah, that's it.
Like that's interesting. So, do you relate to that in real life? Like, do you fear that thing where
Oh,
someone's,
I majorly hate that. I mean, it's
yeah,
happened to me a few times over the last couple of years where I'm like, I see somebody and they're waving and they look so happy to see somebody. I'm like, I don't know who that person is, but yo, hey.
yeah.
And then there's somebody behind me every time, and I'm like, oh, what an idiot.
This is funny. I mean, it's sad, but it's funny because we have very similar fears, and I had that one too, and I got rid of that fear by doing something.
What's that?
I wave to everyone, no matter what. Like if they're clearly not waving to me, if it's like 100 feet that way, I'm just like I
Hey.
wave, and that way it's just like muscle memory. You're just waving. But that makes me feel sad for Dream Will. That's sad. You're at the scareport. We'll just call
I'm
it the
stuck at the
scareport.
scareport. There's a slip and slide, and I
Yeah.
never slipped or slided on it. I
Yeah.
just saw other people doing it, it's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer. But
It's
it was so different. It was like a dream I never had before. So that's why I was kind of like, oh, that was fun, you know?
yeah. Um yeah, it is nice to have a dream you haven't had before because those recurring dreams are super exhausting and it's like, oh, it's like in society we have to like assign a meaning to it. It's like, oh, is there unfinished business? Is there
Yeah.
is there a girl on a plane who I need to meet? Like it's
I hope not.
yeah, no, I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, dreams are so strange. Like my dreams, if they're not like that school dream, it's always like a mass exodus from something. Like I'm
Mhm.
always like in this like leaving somewhere under duress. Like I have to I'm like escaping something.
How many places have you escaped under duress before?
In my dreams or in real
Real
life?
life, yeah.
Um, very few, but there are maybe a couple places like I've had to run from, situations. We'll just say that.
Like, how crazy were these situations?
The glass bottles flying, I think, was the craziest. So I'm not, not like, not like missiles, but definitely like glass bottles.
Yeah, well, who started throwing glass bottles at you?
Someone at the parade,
What parade is this?
the Halloween parade. I was leaving the Halloween parade,
Who has a Halloween parade?
Los Angeles.
So the Los Angeles City has a Halloween parade
Yeah, the annual Los Angeles City Halloween parade that I was invited to,
by the mayor.
of course, by the
Yeah.
mayor,
Uh-huh.
thinking I'd be safe. The mayor invites you somewhere you think, "Oh, I'm not going to like worry.
Yeah.
I'm going to be cuddled and protected." No, there were glass bottles, Will, and they were flying. and I escape. So I'm wondering if maybe you're onto something. Maybe that triggered something.
Yeah, that's probably the source of all these bad dreams.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
luckily I have a good pillow.
Yeah. Tell me about your pillow. Oh, ouch. What
Wait a
is
minute.
that?
Why is it in this? I'm gonna make it naked.
Yeah. Tell me
There's
the
just
naked pillow.
my wife puts so many like cases. This is my pillow cube.
Okay. For a second, I thought it was a different pillow. I was like, wow, he's coming at me on my own podcast.
This is my pillow, the Chad pillow.
Yeah.
Debuting here with Will. You unknowingly signed a contract.
Yeah.
um,
Buy Chad's pillow at chadjamian.com, by the way.
that's not a bad idea. I just read.
That's a real website. You can go to it.
It really is.
Yeah, I know.
I just take a pillow cube and write my name on it. Like just here it is. That's me.
Ooh. So tell me about it, man. How do you like it?
That's really nice. It's nice.
Is this your first time touching it right now?
It's my first time touching it without the 35 pillow cases my wife put on it. Really, this is like amazing. It's so much better. Like, yeah, it's really great. And you didn't tell, I know we didn't rehearse this. You didn't tell me to say that,
No.
but I truly like this is the exact right height. Like, I'm not sinking in. I'm not bouncing off. I'm just perched like a little angel.
We used Chad as the model for the pillow cube when we
Yeah.
invented it. I hadn't known Chad yet, but I was like, hey, look at that guy. I want
Yeah.
to build a pillow for him.
Yeah, because like I'm kind of like the model, like
You're
speaking
like
of
the
models,
David.
yeah,
Man. Yeah.
I'm
the
the what's
perfect
it called?
man.
I'm the sample size, right? My
Yeah.
neck is the sample size, and um, yeah, we all love it. Honestly, all jokes aside, we all love it. And my mother-in-law, who sleeps over to help, with the kid, always like if we accidentally hand her the wrong pillow, we will feel her wrath. Like she gets
mad.
upset. She's like, "This is not the pillow cube."
She's a big fan.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm embarrassing you by doing all this pillow cube talk, but
No,
I
I love
really
it,
do love
man.
it.
Go ahead. Tell me all this stuff. I'm gonna cut it up and probably put it into ads and just be like, hey, look,
Yeah.
this guy, he's our new spokesman, and he doesn't know it.
No, yeah, you have my explicit permission. I love it. I'm so happy with it. It's great. It's completely kept its shape. It's super soft, and it's the exact. I guess I didn't realize I was a side sleeper until I started questioning it. Like, why? Like, how do I sleep? Like all the mattress guys would ask you when you'd go in. Like, I don't know. I don't watch, but I really am, and it's perfect. There's I've gotten the best sleep ever on this, and I'm very happy with it. And whenever I'll post something funny, I'll get, my friends, they reply, they're like, is this like, do you really love it? Or are you just saying, like, I really, it's amazing. There's nothing else like it. So
Yeah, it gets to the point when you're like, hey, is Chad being serious or not? And I never know.
yeah, you never know. And like, as I was saying before, like when I love someone or something, it's everything. And I hold it tight, sometimes literally. So yeah, I love it.
So I want to ask you a serious question.
Yes.
Why do you want to be funny?
That's a really interesting question. Probably just social anxiety. Like, I don't know how else, like
So you're like uncomfortable, you're nervous. And you're like, if I'm funny, people will like me, or it'll make me more comfortable to like become like a alter personality, or
well, yeah, it's if we're being 100% serious, which it sounds like we are for a second,
you don't have to be. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay. but I do. It is a really good question. I think like there's lots of different reasons why people are comedic. I think for me, it was somewhat, it started out, like comedy comes from pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from a defense mechanism. Very, very young, you get mixed in with other kids. They bug you. You have to figure out ways to be like, hey, like to hold your own. And for me, it was comedy for sure. Like for me, it was like, oh, wait a minute, let me take my flaws and get ahead of it and call it out first. Break the breaking news of whatever it is first, and then be funny.
Let me tell you all the things I hate about myself.
Yeah, and then it became a thing. I think comedy is so much of a defense mechanism, like really. And then it if you know how to do it, it can bloom into something cool. It can be a career, and it became a career.
Mhm.
Not just because my mom threatened. She's like, if you don't get paid for this one day, I'm gonna smack you. No, she won't. Um,
Did she say that really?
no, she wouldn't smack me, but she
But
did once throw Kool-Aid on me.
what kind?
Cherry.
That's the best kind, I guess.
It looked like a murder scene. It was nuts. But I was annoying her with it, so I was blowing the powder in her face. I deserved it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So how old were you when you like had these, was it like conscious, like, oh, I'm gonna try to be funny to kind of like distract from this, or this is just like a kind of a
uh, I'd say
instinctual reaction to being kind of, I don't know, uneasy?
I think my memories go back to like second or third grade
Hmm.
when I realized like, oh wait, not everyone's nice. Like okay, I was a little bit sheltered here. Like not everyone is nice. Like
It's
there are
about
some
that point,
people.
second or third grade is.
I really feel like it
Yeah.
was. And then like the peak of it was like middle school, which is a whole
Hmm.
other, I'm sure a whole other podcast episode was middle school itself. Like,
So what would these people say to you?
um, I think they would just like make fun of my appearance. Like I think like,
Uh-huh.
I have like a funny curved nose, which the
Defining feature,
defining
defining.
features, which I'm very happy about now. It's like
Yeah.
my thing. But like, kids would make fun of my nose and I would just like hate it. Like, it got to the point where like I can like sense it. Like they
Hmm.
didn't even have to say it. I would like read a lip or two I would read lips. Like I guess people have
Yeah.
two lips typically. I would read lips like, oh God, they're making fun of me. Like how does this
Hmm.
not happen?
Yeah.
And it was like super hurtful.
Yeah.
We all have our thing, I guess. If you don't have a thing, you're lucky. But I was just like, man, I gotta be funny. So I guess it was a distraction. I mean, that's how things start, you know? Do you have
See,
anything like that?
when I was in fourth grade, and I remember I was at like a summer camp, and this guy, well, I was in my swimsuit. So it's
Mhm.
like the skinniest that my butt has ever. But he's
Yeah.
like, are you wearing a diaper? Or is your
Mm.
butt just so fat? And I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, it really hurt my feelings. It made me want to beat this guy up so bad.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess did not develop the sense of humor, but I just beat him up.
Yeah.
Um,
Or people go the other way.
yeah,
You never know. There's no promise, right?
I didn't really beat him up. I still want to though. So
Yeah.
if that guy's listening, come find me.
That's what Facebook's for. You can find him, invite him to a fake reunion, and then, oh, I mean, don't take my ideas, but theoretically,
Possible. Somebody could do that.
yeah, like an Evite, like, hey, Charles, you're, we'll call him Charles. Charles, I hope it's not his name. You're invited to the reunion, the summer camp Achuwacha summer camp
1994.
94 reunion, but then it's just you with a boxing glove.
Yeah.
Like, this is for the diaper. Were you wearing a diaper, by the way, or was it not?
No, no, no
Okay.
diaper. That's what I'm
It was
saying. It was like
just your
just like a
tush.
regular swimsuit, very
Yeah.
thin netting. To me, I was like,
Yeah.
my butt looks good right now.
The netting is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
The netting, the blessing is, it keeps you together.
Yeah.
The
From
curse,
being seen from by everyone.
but then, Will, it adds bulk.
Yeah.
It adds bulk. And some kids don't understand that. But you know what? You know what that guy's doing now? Nothing. Like no, nothing compared to what you're doing. That guy's sitting in a prison cell making fun of people's bulk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. Either that or he started his own swim line.
Maybe he's in solitary confinement
Yeah.
with his own swim line, right? Like
It's like,
skinny
look at
butts.
those all these fat people wearing swimsuits. Let me get a thinner looking swimsuit. He might be a Lululemon type guy. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? It is funny though when you catch up with these guys later on. It's just like
Mhm.
beep, friend request from Charles. It's like, oh God. What? Like the last
You were so mean to me. Yeah.
I I was on a baseball team, which no one like me should be on a sports team. No one. I was on a baseball team, and some of the most popular guys in my group or in my class were in this baseball team. And then one of the guys, it was his dad was coaching the team,
Hmm.
and they gave me a very mean nickname. It was terrible. I probably can't even say it here. I don't know if you have bleeping, or what, but I'll.
Yeah.
but I can
Give it a shot.
I can allude to the name.
Okay, allude to it. Yeah, I like
I
that.
was the team BIT.
Okay, yeah.
I was the
Uh-huh.
team. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we don't need to waste a bleep on that because we
Yep.
can. Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and they would do what's called a cup check.
Oh, I know what a
You ever
cup
have a
check is. Yeah.
you ever have a cup check? You
Yep.
ever on a baseball
Hmm.
team with bad kids? Take a bat and they check to see if you have a cup on?
Yeah, a cup is a thing that protects your stuff.
Yes. Unless it's hit super hard
It
with
still
a bat.
hurts.
With a bat that, by the way, was defaced with graffiti whiteout with your team name on it. So that very defaced bat coming, you know, 80 miles an hour, whatever it is, toward your anatomy.
And you have kids though, so it worked out.
I do. I
Yep.
do. He's a little strange.
Yeah. He might have got bent up in there, but
Yeah, he might have got a little bent up. He looks a little bit like a red vine.
does he?
Yeah.
Just like long and red and
Just long, sort of like red, and he smells a little bit like like a proprietary spice.
okay. Red vine spice.
Yeah.
It's not bad. So tell me a little bit about your comedy. Like how do you like develop your skills? How did you become funny?
Well, how did I become funny?
Like do
I
you
think
work on your craft?
that's a
And
really good question. I think whenever I really try to work on it, it kind of goes astray.
mm-hmm,
I think the only answer to that is just constant observation
mm-hmm,
and just trying to not be predictable, like to yourself or anyone that you care about, that you practice your comedy with. I
mm-hmm,
think that's sort of what it is, like trying new things, which is also a scary thing because once you become known for a certain way that you are, if you try something new, you can freak someone out. Like, it's so that's a whole interesting side tangent. But yeah, but I think just constant observation and honesty, not doing too much. I think that's what I've learned the most
mm-hmm.
too.
So what are you observing? Are you observing kind of the people you're close to? Are you just meeting a lot of new people? And how does not being around
Yeah.
people, how does that stop the observation?
Oh, COVID's been great. COVID's great. No, it's really not great, but I think just always just like watching the absurdity of things. I'm constantly, I actually think it's to my detriment. Like always just like commenting on the absurdity, like how are you thinking that or saying that or doing that? And in doing so, you start to realize, oh wait, their people just have their own things, and
Hmm.
and you can embrace those things and make them into characters and stuff. So if we're talking about characters and character work, it's definitely from people in my life.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll do like a very kind, subtle, and or G-rated version of them. You know, it,
Yeah. People nowadays, I feel like, are getting so crazy that it might like take some of the comedy out of things. You're like, how can I parody something that's already kind of nuts?
yeah. I mean, some things you have to leave alone, right? Like like some things you just don't want to touch. But then there are other things, especially these days, like with the internet, we know way too much about each other, but it also gives people, observing people like us, a lot of material, I think.
Hmm.
And you got to be careful with that too, because people don't, it's you don't want to offend people, I guess, but you try your best not to. But I think it's all about observation.
Hmm.
Um,
So what's an example of like something you observed before that became a bit or part of your shtick or
I think mostly my family, honestly.
mhm. Is
I
there
would say,
anybody in your family that you want to pick on and highlight right now?
yeah, all of them, all of them. Um, My mom. I think my mom a lot. It's really my mom and my dad.
Hmm.
They're both just really wacky people, and I think I've just observed enough of that to really incorporate them into everything. It's everything,
So you
and
owe
nobody
your
has to know,
career to
right?
the wackiness of your parents.
Yeah, I definitely, and I think I'm passing that down currently. I'm keeping it going. I'm keeping it going. But yeah, family and friends. But yeah, my mom and dad just so wacky, just wacky Jewish hippies.
Hmm.
There's so much, and they're psychologists. Oh my God. Just like there's so much to pull from.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
So, do you have a favorite joke or like the funniest thing you think you've ever done?
Oh, that's a really great question. The funniest thing I've ever done.
I can tell you the funniest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, please.
And it's not necessarily, well, there's a couple of things that come to mind that maybe don't fit the podcast, but um, I was so mad at my kids once,
Mhm.
and I was like running across the room to give them a spanking,
Yeah.
and there was one sock sitting on the carpet, and I was running over there, and I like put the brakes on right as I hit the sock, and I just flew onto my butt. And that's the funniest thing I ever did because my
Oh,
kids just
wow.
started dying. And all of a sudden I went from like being really mad to like super funny,
Oh,
you
wow.
know.
It helped you
Unintentional comedy sometimes is the best stuff,
unintentional is amazing. Yeah, so it diffused.
Diffuse the situation, and I realized,
Yeah.
hey, I don't need to spank my kid's butt over nothing.
That's
I don't even remember what it was.
yeah. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm sure I'll be slipping on something trying to make my way to my child. Ah! I've been close. I'm stepping on things lately around the house. That's kind of cool. So we know what cools you off.
Yeah.
It was like humbling, it sounds like.
No, humbling. Yeah, definitely humbling. And my kids still make fun of me to this day. Like, hey, do you remember that one time dad was
Yeah.
gonna come give us a whooping and then fell on the sock?
Yeah. Huh.
I've only spanked my kids like 4 times. Um,
Okay.
I can remember two of them off the top of my head,
Yeah.
but one, my son, who is probably 7, 6, told his older sister that she was fat
You don't
and
want to
that
do
she had a big fat burrito butt.
that. Okay.
And I don't
Yeah.
know what a big fat burrito butt is, but I was like, you are never making your sister feel fat. So I gave him a little piece of my hand, and
Yeah.
he has not done it to this day, you know?
Yeah.
And then one time they oh gosh, they did something on Mother's Day where they like got mad at their mom. They like took these like
We do on Mother's Day.
yeah.
I thought that's just what you do.
They took these like letters that they wrote and they like ripped them up and then gave them to her. Like, we don't,
Yeah.
I was like, you don't do that to mom on Mother's Day. Sorry, dude. I
But
choose
you could have
first.
had.
I choose her.
Yeah. Oh, nuts.
Yeah.
That's a sad Mother's Day.
We're
That's
over it. We're got a pretty good
yeah.
home life, despite the fact that I'm telling you all the worst, you
Yeah,
know.
no, Will, some and you guys are obviously anyone that knows Will and of your family knows, you're the sweet, adorable family, and but sometimes these moments are the funniest. Like, I get it. Um, yeah, I totally get it. Me,
So have we figured out your funniest moment yet,
I,
or a joke?
I'm constantly trolling my family, constantly, so it's so hard to choose.
So my favorite thing that I've seen you do
Yeah.
is in it might be a gum commercial, and it's
Okay.
when you did the you're like a werewolf or something,
Ah, yes.
and you're
Diversify.
yeah, diversify. But is there I think that was it. I think that's the line that I just like killed me because you're like dressed up like a werewolf, but you're like a finance werewolf
Yeah.
or something.
So the
I don't know.
funniest thing I ever done for you is when I was with I was a finance werewolf.
Yeah, the idea of it
That's
just killed
interesting.
my inside. So
Yeah. No, I'm glad. I wish we could like reprise that here on the show. That would be cool because I can like give financial advice in my werewolf prosthetics.
yeah.
Well, you gotta invest in Chad's pillow.
Chad's pillow, chadjamian.com.
Um, you know, Jeez, it's like I'm always answering those spam calls. People get really upset,
Uh-huh.
That's
Okay, yeah.
I'm always, there's a big movement to not answer these spam calls on your phone because I know you get put on a list. Give me that, put me on that list. I love these spam calls. And my poor wife gets she'll get visibly sweaty and has to move away from me. Some people love to be in cringy situations. I personally love it. She just hates it. She can't listen to it. But for me, I'm just like, I do my old lady voice. I see who's calling. It says, like scam likely. You ever get those? Like
Yeah.
scam likely. And I'm like, oh, it's just like, the best person on the planet calling me. I answer with, I do a couple voices, but usually it'll be like, speaking of where I get my comedy from, I do my grandma's voice. I do my grandmother, rest in peace. I do a version of her voice, and I kind of just answer like, hello, hello. And it just, and they're like, hello, ma'am, we're gonna send someone to clean your air ducts, or something, or like, do you have your credit card? And I'm just like, let me find it. And I pretend to go upstairs, and then like I'll stage like a huge crash, like a huge fall, and then like I keep them on the phone with me for like my record is an hour and 20 minutes. And they're like still asking, I'm like laying there half unconscious, and they're still asking me for my credit card. And I'm just like, let me call you back, and we make it a whole weekend.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of these on your Instagram stories where it's like in DMs or texts or something.
Yeah, I get the
Oh
DM.
man.
It's fun. It's like you just if you're doing it for yourself, it's so fun. If you're really doing everything just for yourself, I think people pick up on that, and they like it. Like, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, you're a funny, amazing guy, but it's for you. It's like you act on your passions, and I think that's kind of, if it's really genuine and you mean well and you're doing your thing, I think people kind of gravitate to that. So I think that's also can be said for comedy. Like, I think at some point I got sick of like giving people what they want or what's popular, because then you'll get complaints. It's like you can't please everyone, and I'm sure you can relate to that in some, in different degrees. You just simply can't please anyone. And I think the second you realize that, you're like in good shape, right? Like, it's
Then you're like,
like,
I just need to please Chad.
yeah, just
Mhm.
please me.
Yep.
Yes. And as soon as you realize you got to please Chad, it's like, okay, everything just sort of chills out and you're on your way. It's too hard to make everybody happy. And I should really practice what I preach, because like I'm still struggling with that. But think of who you admire the most, the people, celebrities, figures.
Mhm.
It's like if you really think about it, more than likely, they're just genuine, and I think
Mhm.
that's sort of what I always strive for.
So what has been kind of one of the high points of your career to this point?
I was in a werewolf costume talking about finance and gum. No, that was not the right answer.
I love that, dude. Those are
Oh,
actually, I
thank
mean,
you.
those are like, if you look at Chad's commercial spots, they're just unbelievable. Like, I die laughing. There's a Dr. Pepper one or something too
Yeah, it
that
came out
just like,
yesterday.
that's the new one. Sorry, there's like an old one I think you did, right?
Oh, yeah, there's an old one too. Yeah, I was at your camp. I was at your summer camp in a tent. No,
Yeah.
I was in a tent, and I was literally, Will, the role, like when the breakdowns come through, like the auditions, it
Mhm.
said creepy park ranger. And I was told, and I kid you not, that I was the first person that came to this casting office's mind.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, thank you?
Yeah.
Like,
We got to use this guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like creepy. Who's creepy?
But with a outdoor wilderness vibe.
Exactly. Who's
That makes it.
rugged and creepy?
Yeah.
Oh, Chad Jamian.
Hey,
Great.
you look rugged.
Thank you. I've been told that. I've been told that. Look, I just exume outdoorsman.
So
Um,
do you have like a lowest moment of your career? Not maybe the lowest, but like the kind of the hardest times for you?
The lowest moment is a culmination of all of my auditions.
Hmm.
I really, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I think I've lost years off my life auditioning in these
Hmm.
small rooms with these people on their laptops, barely even looking at you. Like, it really is like 99.9% rejection and heartache. And then once in a while you book something really cool and it's great. But yeah, like Will, like literally, like, I live in Los Angeles. I can drive by a building and look at this building, and like just my heart will sink. Like, I remember
Yeah.
13 years ago, like forgetting my lines, or like having a nervous audition where I sweat through my shirt,
Yeah.
or I can feel like I was having a heart attack, like I was psychosomatically, like dying. and like I'm just thinking like, oh God, like let's turn
Yeah.
around and
Let
put an
me
In-N-Out
run away
burger.
from this building. Yeah. So
Um,
how do you process the rejection? How do you kind of find peace with that?
I don't know if I have, honestly. I don't know if
You're
I
still
have.
a broken person, huh?
I mean, yeah, yeah. It's sort of filled with broken people here, you know?
Hmm.
It really is. Like, I consider myself very lucky and more well-rounded than the brokenest of the broken. So I'm lucky. I have really good family support and stuff. But, you know, there's some real traumatizing stuff. It's really, it's a strange career, and it's sort of like what we were talking about before. You really have to love it. Like,
Hmm.
you have to have a genuine love for it. And while I can't pick out exactly what I love, you know, there's got to be something in there, you know, like even you know, something made you smile. You recalled this commercial I did and a moment in it that
Hmm.
I lived, and it made you smile. Like that's what's worth it. Like when my friends and family, it like made them happy, and I think that's what it really is all about. Because I can't say I'm personally enjoying it, but you know, when it's good, it's good. But yeah,
So you would say your career, like to you, you're like, I have not enjoyed my career. Is that what you're saying? Like it's been like hard and painful and
it's been hard and painful. It's been hard and painful with some fun payoff, I'd say.
hmm.
And it's a weird thing where like, and I'll talk about this with my friends sometimes. Like, no one's really gonna say like, "Hey, you succeeded or you failed," and I think that's sort of a misconception. Like I don't know about you, but like I'm a very concrete. I'm like a numbers guy in a way. Like
Yeah.
I want to know like, have you failed or succeeded? And I've noticed that the hardest struggle has been not knowing. It's like you're like in between. It's like
Hmm.
um and you'll tend to meet people out here that are living your very dreams, like doing the most amazing things you can
Hmm.
possibly think of, but like they're not necessarily happy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of not. They're looking for the next thing. So in a way that has helped
Hmm.
realizing that, you know, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as whatever you might be, well, let's stick with artists in this case. If you're never going to be satisfied, then just be satisfied. Then just
Hmm.
like try to enjoy the moment. And I think that's sort of where I'm at. Like I've seen the top, and the top is also feeling the way I feel
Well, yeah. I mean, if you are comparing yourself, like that's not
all the
the
time.
definition of success is not to have more of anything than somebody else.
It shouldn't be.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because that doesn't because you're just constantly left with always looking to somebody else. Like how
And that's
does
the key word, constant. It really is. There's a feeling like I guess as humans, you think, okay, I'm going to get to this point. Here's happiness. Well, it kind of has to come from somewhere else, you know. Whether maybe it's family, it's hobbies, it's religion, it's something inside of you. That's where it really is. If you're doing things for other people and you're seeing some kind of like end game, it's not really. I don't know if that's really the way to approach it, because
Mhm.
you meet the people with the supposed end game that you might have had, and it's like, well, they're still struggling and they're mad about this and that. We're still going to be human no matter what. So I think that's something to focus on.
So for you, when are you going to be successful? Like how are you gonna say, hey, look, I'm a success now? Like how do you define that? And
I'm
maybe it could be
fine.
already, right? But like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great question. Actually, that's amazing. I'm starting to feel it.
Hmm.
It's letting go. It's realizing that there is always going to be a hustle or a climb. That's when I feel like you can start to. It's not a defining moment necessarily. It's a progression. But I'm finally, you know, after having, you know, getting married to the love of my life and like, you know, all that cheesy stuff and having a kid. It's like, wait a second, oh my gosh, like this is what it's all about, you know.
Hmm.
Um, Moving forward, I think. I don't know. I really think the second you realize that you're always going to want, you know, something different and your dreams will change, that's sort of when success happens.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we want to be on top, and we're always like working for like some specific goal to be like the best or achieve the success where we don't even need to work again or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just think work is kind of fundamental to our happiness. Like if you're going out and trying to work and trying to be funny and trying to like get better at what you do every day, like that makes you happy. And I think another big thing that is important for happiness is relationships. So like having a wife who no matter what happens at work is like, I love you and I'm just like grateful that I can spend time with you is like a huge gift and a huge success. I know that when I go home at the end of the day, it's like I have these kids that I love hanging out with. I love shooting hoops with them.
Mhm.
I like playing cards with them, watching a movie with them. And so it's like my life feels good, even if like professionally, if something didn't go right, I'd be like, oh, I feel good here, and I have a wife who's just like completely loyal to me. And, those are things that define success is just how are your relationships, and like from a friend standpoint, like having great friends that are like there for you and just want to spend time with you, and I look at what you have and I'm like, man, beautiful little kid. I don't know you and your wife super well, but it looks like you guys like have fun together, and like each
Yeah.
other. And those are the things that to me define success. And then I think about your comedy career too, and it's like you legitimately do have a gift. And like sometimes gifts are recognized by the world where they're like, oh wow, let me highlight and show like Chad has this amazing gift. But sometimes only a few people see that gift,
Hmm.
but it doesn't really change whether or not the gift's there, and that's how I look at you. I'm like, wow, like you crack me up. And then when you were doing your like bit about the scam calls, you
Yeah.
know, I could barely breathe.
Yeah.
So you do have that gift. So
I
anyway.
really appreciate that, Will, and that was so well articulated too. About I and thank you. That means a lot. And I think what you were saying about sort of like having a bad day at work, we have this constant, right? And if you're lucky enough to have that kind of relationship and family, you can start to see, well, the work days and your days out in the world where people, can accept you one day and then you're not so hot the next day. That changes when you get home to your sanctuary, to your place. And it's something that you have to build yourself. Like no one could do that for you. And I just thought that was really well said because that, if you're lucky enough for that to be the constant, that's so important. And yeah, I think it directly ties into what success is. You start to see that that's what matters. That's what matters. But yeah, I think that's a really important concept. These things really have to come from you, and even if there's just a couple people to see it, because numbers and social media and like this kind of hype, it doesn't last. It's all gonna,
Mhm.
it
Are
goes.
you gonna be like, hey, I'm a success in life because I achieved a certain level of followers? To me, it's like, what are you bringing to people's lives?
Yeah.
And if you're just like constantly adding value, constantly adding happiness, serving people, caring for them, like that's it.
And they kind of turn on you too in little ways too. It's like I remember with like, even with Vine and all that stuff and Instagram, it's like you do this character and stuff and it's like, okay, do something new. And then you do something new, you're like, what is this? I don't recognize this. You can't pull this off. It really just
You mean those people on the internet aren't loyal to you and care about you? And
would you believe it? Um Yeah, I've gotten to a point where like I don't post very much anymore, but because I want to make it good and I want to make it meaningful. But you sometimes get to a point where you just don't want to share it. It's just
Mhm.
like things are too toxic out there to really like just share it with your friends, share it with your family. I think um, I'm kind of at that point just for now, but that
Well, you
changes.
need to do like I don't know if on Instagram you notice you have like a close friends and family group you can create.
Yes, I saw
Yeah,
that.
just share it with those people and make sure you put me in that list.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll always put you in. I'm gonna start a TikTok thing with my friend. I don't know much about it because we're like building it today, but it's gonna be really
Mhm.
fun. We're gonna cover like lots of stuff. It's gonna be like a variety show, and I think it'd be really cool if you hopped on sometime.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'd be like the most honored person ever. So,
Yeah,
if people want to know more about you, want to find your TikTok show, I mean, we don't even know where that's going to be at. Is that what we're saying?
it'll all be on. Yeah, everything's the same. Luckily, it's Chad Jamian on everything. Like
Hmm.
if you think that this discussion has been interesting, or if if you want to see some of my things, it's all on Chad Jamian and. Yeah, I've made so many friends on there too, on Instagram and on Facebook and everything. Some very genuine, like lifelong friends. I talk about the negative stuff, but like
Hmm.
really, I'm very happy for the internet. Also, it's also a good place. I wouldn't have met you. I might. I mean, I
I
could
don't
have.
think so. I mean, maybe, but
Do you
I
shop at
doubt
Do
it.
you shop at Trader Joe's ever?
I go to Trader Joe's like twice a year when I need to
Oh,
get something for my wife to make her feel happy, and it's like, hey,
okay.
those little Reese's cups
The-
that they have, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not
Joe
Reese's, but
cups.
yeah, Joe cups.
Yeah,
Some
you
peanut
get
butter cups
they
from
they
Joe's.
literally take it out of the branding and they put it in their own like trade. You know that? Like
Yeah.
they just like, oh, I like this. It's now ours.
Yep. They did it.
So yeah, we
I
wouldn't have
do think
met.
there's some improvement on it, actually, the Joe cups. I'll
Oh,
stand for
good.
those.
You and I should do like a like reviews, but for the most mundane things like chocolate. Like today, Will and I are reviewing this piece of chocolate.
Hershey's bar.
Oh yeah, start with Hershey's.
But we could go to Trader Joe's and then just like open stuff up and start eating it in the aisle,
What
you
could go
know.
wrong?
Yeah.
What could go? My kid does it. Why can't we do it?
You know, my wife does it. So
Your wife. I heard. Yeah, I read the story. Yeah, is she? Did you bail her out yet, or is she still in there?
no, it was, you know, I made her wait a weekend.
A week. A weekend is very
You know,
healthy.
how are they going to learn a lesson if you don't make them wait a weekend?
Yeah, a
So
weekend. But you make them think it's gonna be like a month. But you really like
yeah.
Monday morning. You're just like, hey, you're good.
No, I think people either kind of grew up in families where it was okay to just open stuff in the grocery store and be like, oh, I'll pay for it when I get up there,
Yeah.
or you didn't, and I didn't, you know.
Okay, this is really funny. I did not. My wife is big on that, and I look around like I'm going to be like executed. Like
Yeah, I'm
I'm
like, what are you
so
doing? You
she
can't eat that now.
right. And the one time I've ever had to do it, I was like, my blood sugar was down. It was like I'm looking at cameras. I'm looking at. I had to like open a water, and it took every ounce of my moral fiber, will, to like open this. And she'll grab like a donut's like I'm hungry. What are you, what are you doing? You have to buy that. I can't go to jail. I can't go to Joe's jail.
Dude, they have a jail there. Have you been there?
No, I haven't, thank God, but I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
scary.
I saw a documentary on it and I couldn't sleep that night. I had very bad
Was it the
dreams.
Hulu one or the Netflix one?
I watched both that night.
Okay.
Uh, and then it was so bad I just had to end with I turned on a show about ponies and but I
Was it
still had to,
the Bronies?
yeah, it was the Bronies annual spectacular live interactive.
Yeah, Google Bronies.
Yeah.
Well,
What a
thanks for
funny
coming on
show.
the podcast, man. It was great to
You're the best.
like
Should I show
laugh.
Pillow Cube again?
Oh yeah, show the cube.
Let's
Give
make it
us
look like
some.
it's coming up itself because
Yeah.
it's a good illusion, right? So here's the ad, right? So we're gonna do this ad now, and you can just like crop it
Yep,
and make
we'll
it,
cut it out. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and then I'm gonna have the blue screen for you,
Perfect.
right? So you can put whatever you want. Honestly, I trust you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show my finger. Um, hey, I'm Chad, and here's my friend, Pillow Cube. I said, here's my friend, Pillow Cube. Then you want to put like a smile. You probably want to put a smiley face on it. There, right, like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pillow Cube, how have you been sleeping? Oh, so good. Why has it been so good? I'm the perfect height for my neck. Pillow Cube, you don't have a neck. You're a pillow. Oh, that's what you think. Okay, gotta go. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to see you go. And then you can make like like when Mario falls falls down.
Yeah, a little sound.
Little sound. That's your ad.
Well, that's the perfect way to end, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing some comedy tips. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing some kind of genuine, vulnerable feelings, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks
And
for inviting me to do that. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you and all the love you show.
no problem. Well, hey, thanks for listening to the Pillow Talk podcast, and we will catch you next time.